Lover Undercover. They say a story can change your life. I didn't know how true that was until I walked into Midnight Ember and nearly slept on a rain slicked curb. A smooth start for a girl pretending to have it all together. I stood across the street, eyeing the glowing red sign above the club velvet entrance. Rain drizzled onto the pavement, blurring the lights like a watercolor painting someone forgot to finish. My nervous? Let's just say they were doing cartwheels in heels. This was my first undercover assignment as a full time journalist. My editor said, "Make it sing, Maya." Right now, I had settled for not getting arrested. The rumor Midnight Ember wasn't just a high end club, it was a cover, a velvet draped front for something illegal. Drugs, blackmail, maybe even human trafficking, all allegedly linked to one man, John Jungkook. The second I stepped inside, I felt it, like walking into the middle of a secret. The music pulsed like a racing heart, and the air smelled like expensive cologne, spilled champagne, and a bad decisions. I adjusted my dress, tugged at the hem that insisted on riding up like it had a personality of its own, and made my way to the bar. Just act like you belong. That's what the manual said. Then I saw him, John Jungkook. And okay, nobody warned me that the so called dangerous club owner would look like a Greek god dipped in a black velvet, red jawline, tattoos, all that brooding aura, but with kind of stillness that made people instinctively lower their voices around him. He wasn't showing off, he didn't need to. The room already knew who he was. I said to myself internally, right, totally normal. Just make content, gather intel, avoid eye contact, and don't get distracted by the man's jawline. Professional journalism got it. I sat at the bar trying to look like I belonged. Ordered something sparkly. I couldn't. Probably the cost of rent. Then, his voice, low, velvet dipped, in trouble. "You are new." I turned cool as a cucumber that's been left in the sun. "Is it that obvious?" He gave a light smile. "Most regulars don't look like they are mentally mapping the exits." God. I smiled sweetly. Maybe I'm just cautious. Or curious. I raised a brow. Curiosity is better than being predictable. "Is that what you think I am?" Oh, he was good. I hummed. "Let's just say you haven't done anything wildly suspicious yet." He laughed, a low, surprised sound. It cracked something in his carefully guarded face. "Name?" "Maya." I held his gaze. "And you?" He smirked. "You already know who I am." Of course I did, but I gave him a slow blink and a dry, "No? Should I?" For a moment he just stared at me, lips twitching like he was holding in a laugh. For a moment he just stared at me, lips twitching like he was holding in a laugh, or something more dangerous. He leaned in slightly, resting an arm on the bar. "You don't belong here," he said, almost like a warning. I sipped the fizzy drink that tasted like sugar and regret. "Whoa, harsh." I was going for mysterious. He chuckled again. Then his smile faded. His eyes drifted over the room, growing darker, quieter. "You don't know what you are stepping into it." The way he said it made the hair raise on my neck, not a threat, a truth. And somehow that was scarier. A staff member came over and whispered in his ear. Jungkook straightened, his face unreadable again. He stood up and turned to me, his voice softened just slightly. "You shouldn't come here too often." I tilted my head. "Why?" "Afraid I will ruin your club mysterious vibe?" He didn't answer, just looked at me for a bit longer than unnecessary, like trying to decide something. Then he walked away. Well, that was fine, totally fine. No heart palpitations, no spark. Just a normal night of a fake identities and dangerously attractive men who talk in riddles. I finished my drink, and one long sip and mentally updated my list of regrets. And I had a feeling that list was only going to grow. Chapter 2. Jungkook. I noticed her the moment she walked in, not because she was the most glamorous woman in the room. Though she was close, it was something else. A flicker, a pause. The way her eyes scanned the walls, not the people, the way she smiled like she had a secret and didn't care if you know. Most people came to Midnight Amber to be seen. She came to watch. I don't like people who watch too closely, which is exactly why I couldn't stop watching her. I stood in my office, the bass from the dance floor still thudding beneath my feet. Below, the crowd danced without caring who was watching. But I cared, always. Security footage played on a small monitor, just habit. My eyes drifted to her again. Maya. That's what she called herself. Something about her didn't match. Her ID checked out, but her story didn't. Said she moved here last week, didn't say where from. Said she was a designer, didn't dress like one. Said she didn't know me. Yeah, sure, but she wasn't a cop. I would have known. So, what was she? Maya. The next day, I woke up with a slight headache and a full tank of regret. Okay, maybe not regret, more like curiosity in overdrive. I planned to stay out of his sight after last night's little verbal tango, but that plan flew out the window the moment I opened my inbox and saw the message from my editor. Need more. Find the hook. Get inside. Get inside? Sure. Let me just break into the inner circle of the city's most elusive nightclub owner who looked like he models for dark romance novel in his spare time. Easy. I showed up again that night, this time in a black leather pants and fake confidence. The bouncer gave me a look like, back already? I gave him a look like, you don't pay me enough to care. Inside, everything was louder, darker, hotter. And standing near the VIP section, guess who? Jungkook. Wearing all black again, maybe he didn't own color. Maybe black was the safer for the people who had something to hide. Or maybe it just made his tattoos look harder. Not the only I was looking. Okay, I looked. He saw me, of course he did. He walked over silent and smooth like he belonged in a perfume ad for danger and temptation. You don't take hints very well, he said. I tilted my head. Was that a hint? I thought it was moody banter. I smiled at his mouth. He gestured toward the back lounge. Come. Why? Because if you are going to keep showing up, I might as well know who you really are. I blinked. You always interrogate your guests, only the interesting ones. The back lounge was quieter, velvet booths, low light, skin crystal glasses, and him, across from me, legs crossed, a calm that didn't match the intensity in his eyes. So, he said, watching me, Maya, what do you want? I leaned back, pretending I wasn't sweating under his stare. Same thing everyone wants, I guess. And what's that? An escape? A thrill? A story to tell? He smirked. You don't seem like the thrill seeking type. You don't seem like the type who talks to strangers. Touchy. He looked down at his glass, then back at me. Be careful, he said quietly. This place, it's not just music and lights. People come here to forget. Some of them are running, some are hiding. And you? I'm the one they hide from. His tone was flat, honest. It made my skin prickle. But I couldn't back out now. You don't scare me, I said, though my voice came out a little softer than planned. He leaned forward, elbow on his knees. Maybe you should be, he said just as soft. A long silence fell. Not awkward, not cold, just full, like something was balancing on the edge of a question neither of us dared to ask. And just then, one of his staff knocked and stepped inside. Jungkook stood up quickly, suddenly all business. Duty calls, He said. I nodded, ready to leave, but I stepped past him. He reached out and gently touched my arm. Just a touch. Barely there. You are different, he said. I looked up at him, heart in my throat. So are you, I whispered. I didn't know what I was doing, but something in that room shifted. It wasn't just a job anymore, not just a lie I was telling. I was starting to want the truth, and I wasn't sure I could handle it when I found it. Chapter 3, Maya. You know that feeling when someone looks at you like they see you? Really see you? Yeah, that happened. And I hated how much I liked it. I told myself it was all part of the assignment. Flirting, strategy, accepting his drink offer, research, staring at his lips for longer than necessary. Lack of sleep. I had interviewed politicians, crime victims, and a reality TV stars who tried to adopt a tiger. But somehow this, playing it cool around Jungkook, was the hardest acting gig of my life. Next night, you are becoming a regular, said the bouncer as I walked in again. I gave him a tired smile. Well, everyone needs a hobby. Mine just happened to be involved a mild danger and overpriced cocktails. Inside, the music had a darker rhythm tonight. It matched my heartbeat a little too well. Jungkook. She came back. Of course she did. But this time, she didn't walk to the bar. She went straight for the dance floor. I watched from the balcony, arms folded, pretending I wasn't paying attention, but my eyes never left her. She moved like someone who didn't care if they were being watched, or maybe like someone who wanted to be watched by me. Maya. I felt his eyes before I saw him. Call it paranoia or feminine instinct, sharpened by journalism school and 2 years of covering crime scenes. Either way, I know he was watching. So I danced, not to seduce, not to provoke, just to release whatever tension was building in my chest since our last conversation. But then he appeared, right behind me. I thought you said you weren't the type to be seen, he said quietly into my ear. I thought you said you weren't the type to follow, I replied, not turning around. I'm not. I finally turned and nearly bumped into him. He was close, too close. Then why are you here? I asked. He leaned in slightly, not touching, just looking like he was studying my lie. Maybe I like the way you lie, he said. He led me off the floor, hand at the small of my back, not possessive, not demanding, just steady. We slipped through a curtain into a quieter lounge again. You keep pulling me into these dark corners, I said, raising a brow. He smiled faintly. You keep following? That's debatable. Maya. The way he said my name, low, sure, almost gentle, set an involuntary chill through me. You are not just here for fun, he said. I froze. He continued calm. You are watching people, listening, you know my name before I told you, and you ask questions no casual guest would ask. And here I thought you liked me. I joked lightly. He didn't laugh this time. Instead, he looked disappointed. I do, he said, then paused. But I don't like being lied to. My throat tightening. Maya. I should have left. I should have laughed, changed the subject, playing dumb. But the part of me that chased truth for a living, the part that always wanted to get closer, froze under the weight of his stare. He wasn't angry, he was curious, and that was worse. He stepped closer, close enough to see the darker specks in his eyes, close enough that my breath caught. I should ask you to leave, he said, voice low. You should, I whispered, but I don't want to. Neither of us moved. The silent stretch. One heartbeat, two, and then he leaned in. I swear the air sparked, but before his lips touched mine, a loud bang. Somewhere in the back hall, he stepped away immediately, jaw tightening. Stay here. I watched him vanish behind the curtains, that cold, controlled persona snapping back into the place like armor. So, that almost happened. Almost. Which honestly was worse than it actually happening. Because now I was left with my heart slamming against my ribs and a creeping realization. I wasn't just here for a story anymore, and I wasn't sure who I was trying to expose, Jungkook or myself. Chapter 4. Jungkook. The bang wasn't just a random sound, it was a message, a reminder that in this world, peace is temporary and trust is a myth. I moved through the staff hallway quickly, no hesitation. My team was already on alert. A glass door had been smashed in the back corridor. No intruders, no damage. Just shuddered silence. Too clean, too intentional. Someone wanted to rattle me. But what really rattled me? The woman I left behind that velvet curtain, Maya. Minutes later, I stood with arms folded, eyes fixed on the monitor. Maya was still sitting in the lounge, sipping water, calm, almost too calm. She is not just here for drinks. My head of security sat behind me. I know. You wanted to dig deeper? I hesitated, then shook my head. Not yet. Because I wasn't ready to find out what she was hiding. Maya. I should have left right then, walked out of the club and never looked back. Got a new story, one that didn't involve emotionally unavailable nightclub owners with eyes that could short circuit your logic. But nope, I waited. And when Jungkook returned, he didn't look surprised to find me still there. Still here? He asked. I raised an eyebrow. You didn't say I had to leave, and besides, someone broke a glass. I was being polite. He didn't smile, not this time. Instead, he studied me slowly, like a puzzle missing one piece. You have been asking questions about me. I went still. What kind of questions? The kind people only ask when they already know the answers. Okay, yikes. Time to think fast. I'm a curious person, I said lightly. I can handle curious, he said. But lies? They get people hurt in my world. I expected him to walk away. Instead, he surprised me. Come with me, he said quietly, to where somewhere people don't lie. I blinked. Does that place exist? He almost smiled. You will see. I wasn't expecting a rooftop, and I definitely wasn't expecting a garden, warm fairy light, potted jasmine plants, and a low table with 2 cups of untouched tea. You grow your own peace up here? I asked, stunned. He looked out over the city, hand in his pockets. It's the only place I can breathe. I sat across from him, heart oddly quiet for the first time that night. Why did you bring me here? He met my eyes. Because for some reasons, I want you to know the part of me no one else does. So, Janko, I said softly, what's your story? He hesitated. My father used to run this place. When he died, everyone expected me to sell it, walk away, but I stayed, I rebuilt, and now I don't know if I run the club or if it's run me. I stayed silent, letting the weight of his words settle between us. And then quietly he said, they say trust is earned, but sometimes the ones we trust the most are the ones who break us first. My chest tightened. This wasn't a man hiding a criminal empire. This was a man hiding his heart behind steel walls. I didn't mean to touch his hand, but something in me wanted to reach out just a little. Like maybe I could understand him better if I could feel the warmth of his skin. He looked down at our hands, then back at me. The quiet in his eyes changed. Softer, warmer, curious. Then slowly, deliberately, he leaned in. This time I didn't move. His lips brushed mine once, testing, but it sparked something low and slow inside me. The second kiss was deeper, more sure. It wasn't hurried or wild, it was patient. Like he wanted to learn the shape of the moment and memorize it. I wasn't expecting it to feel that honest. His hand slid to my cheek, warm and steady. My fingers curled into his jacket, holding on like maybe I had fall if I didn't. When he finally pulled back, I didn't open my eyes right away. I needed a second to pretend it. I wasn't completely undone. I kissed him. I kissed him. The man I was supposed to investigate, expose. But I was I thinking? Not that was the problem. That kiss wasn't the part of the plan. It wasn't move. It was real. And now line between truth and pretend had gone completely blurry. My editor would kill me. And if Jungkook ever found out who I really was, he might do worse. Just then his phone buzzed. He read the message, expression darkening. What is it? I asked, voice low. He didn't answer, just stood, jaw tight. You need to leave now. Why? Because someone's digging, he said, and if they find out who you really are before I do, he didn't finish the sentence, but I heard it anyway. Chapter 5 Maya. When I got home that night, I collapsed on the couch like a woman who just robbed a bank and hugged the gateway car. Because honestly, I might as well have. I kissed Jungkook, and I mean it. Note to self: do not fall for the subject of an investigation, even if he smell like dark spice and moral ambiguity. But here I was, staring at the ceiling like it held answers, or maybe just judgment. I pulled out my black notebook, the one I used to track club layouts, security shift, whispered conversations. But instead of notes, I wrote, I kissed him, not for the story, not for the byline. I kissed him because I forgot I was pretending. My phone buzzed on the table. Unknown number. You kissed him? That's cute. Try not to bleed when it blows up in your face. I froze. Before I could react, a second message came in. Unknown number. You think you are the only one watching him? Wrong. You are being watched too, little dog. Get out while you can, or I will come say hello. A photo followed. It was of me this morning, standing outside my office building, coffee in my hand, looking over my shoulder. My blood ran cold. Next morning in the office. You look like someone who drank her own bad decisions, Tara said, sliding into a chair across from my desk with her usual zero filter energy. I slept 2 hours and my phone threatened to murder me. I muttered. Tara blinked. Ah, what? Nothing. I shut my laptop with a snap. Just undercover things. She sipped her oatmeal latte and squinted. Are you catching bad guys or falling in love with them? I gave her a deadpan stare. Okay, whoa. That pose was suspicious, she said, pointing. I rolled my eyes, leaning back. It's complicated. Of course it is. Your life is a dating app for chaos. Despite everything, I laughed. Then my smile faded. Hey, Tara said more gently. You okay? For real. I hesitated, then nodded too quickly. Because I couldn't tell her the truth. Not yet. Not that I was in too deep. Not that someone was watching. Not that I didn't know whose side I was on anymore. Jungkook. I sat in my car outside her building again. Second night in a row. What the hell was I doing? Waiting for a reason to trust her or a reason to walk away? The club had rules. My life had rules. And rule number one was simple: never trust anyone who makes you forget the others. And yet, her kiss was still with me, like a fingerprint on my ribs. I wanted to forget it, but I couldn't. Later, security room. Sir, here's the footage. My security head said, handing me a USB. We loaded it. There in the back corridor, someone moving fast. lower to the ground, no face, just a silhouette in a hoodie. But one frame, a flicker, caught something. Long hair, same height, same build. Maya? Couldn't be. Or could it? Maya. I came back to the club. I came back to the club even though I know I shouldn't. But I had to see him. Had to know if last night meant something. Had to find out if this was more than a mistake with a good lightning. He found me before I even made it to the bar. Back already, he said, voice even but guarded. I tried to smile, missed the jasmine tea. He didn't smile back. Maya, he said lowly, we need to talk now. He led me to the hallway, led by the low amber sconce, empty, quiet, dangerous. I have been fair with you, Jungkook said, stepping closer, but fear only lasts until trust runs out. I swallowed. What are you talking about? There's a shadow in my club, he said. Someone slipping into places they shouldn't be, and they look a lot like you. I I wasn't. I started, but the words fell apart halfway out. He didn't accuse. He didn't threaten. He just looked tired. I want to believe you, he said, but part of me is waiting for you to prove me wrong. And that hurt more than if he had yelled. I should have walked away. Instead, I reached for his hand. Maybe it was an apology, maybe it was a warning, but he didn't pull back. Instead, he pulled me closer, gently, firmly, and kissed me again. This kiss wasn't soft, it was restrained heat, a desperate need for something real. A kiss that said, I don't trust you, but I can't stop wanting you. And for a moment, I forget the threats, forget the story, forget everything but his mouth against mine and the heartbeat I felt between our hands. When he pulled away, he whispered, I'm not your villain, but I won't be your fool either. Then he walked away, leaving me in the hall, breathless and burning. I watched him go and realized something terrifying. I wasn't afraid of the stalker's threat. I wasn't afraid of the story exploding. I was afraid of losing him before I could tell him who I really was. Because that kiss wasn't a strategy, it was real. And real is always the most dangerous thing of all. Chapter 6. Jungkook. There's something about instinct. It kicks in before reason, before proof. And mine was screaming. I had a silent rule. If something feels off, it usually is. And with Maya, every moment with her felt like a coin spinning midair, thrilling, uncertain, and one breath away from landing on betrayal. The city glimmered below like it they knew it was full of liars. Or maybe it just didn't care. I stood alone on the rooftop where I first kissed her. Funny how a single place could hold so much memory and now so much doubt. This voice buzzed in my ear through the comms. We track the anonymous text, proxy server, whoever it is, they know what they are doing. I clenched my jaw. So, someone's targeting her. They hesitated, possibly or baiting you to using her. Both were bad. Both made me feel exactly the same. Angry, protective, and worst of all, helpless. Because if Maya was innocent, she was in danger. And if she wasn't, then I had already let the wolf inside. Maya. The first rule of journalism is always control the story. Tonight, the story was controlling me. Between the threatening text, Jungkook's suspicion, and the kiss, I still felt like a phantom against my lips. I was unraveling faster than my favorite cardigan in the washing machine. I was drawing audio files from the night. I recorded that shady guy in the back corridor, notes, conversations, club sound leaks when the power in my apartment cut out. Total silence, then buzz. My phone lit up, unknown number. told you to walk away, but you are still dancing in his spotlight. You are going to get burned. My breath caught. Then another message. Open the door. My heart stopped. I wasn't expecting anyone. I grabbed the paper spray from my bag and edged towards the door. Peeked through the peephole. Empty. Another bus. Changed my mind, but maybe I will see you at the club tonight instead. Coward psychopath. I didn't know who they were, but they were watching me, and they knew I wasn't just pretending anymore. I showed up at the club unannounced. I wasn't thinking straight, just wanting to see him to explain, to stop feeling like I was being haunted in the dark. While standing in his light, I found him in the hallway, talking with Tay. His expression changed the second he saw me, walls up guarded again. We needed to talk, I said quietly. His jaw tightened. You really like these back hallways, don't you? Make it easier to hide or to lie. I stepped closer. I'm not lying. He didn't blink. Then tell me who sent you. My stomach dropped. He knew. I didn't ask you. I just knew that he did. Jungkook. Her eyes clenched, but enough. Maya, tell me the truth. All of it now. She looked around like the walls might swallow us whole. I didn't come to hurt you, she whispered. I came for a story at first. I closed my eyes. Damn it. But it stopped being about that when I got to know you. Convenient timing. I didn't plan for any of this. I didn't plan for any of this. She looked desperate now, not for sympathy, for belief. And I hated how badly I wanted to give it to her. We ended up back on the rooftop like fate had a sense of irony. She stood at the edge of the glass railing, arm crossed, wind blowing a strand of her hair loose. I got a text, she said. Whoever's been watching me, they know everything. They are threatening me. You. I walked over, close enough to touch but didn't. She turned. You think I'm the enemy? But someone else is playing both of us. And if you can't see that, I see you. I get it. Too well. She blinked, breath hitching. Then, God help me, I stepped closer, pressed a hand gently to her waist, tipped my head down, and kissed her again. Not out of passion this time, but out of knowing. Knowing this thing between us was a messy, wrong, reckless, and undeniably real. When I pulled back, she was trembling slightly. So was I. Do you trust me now? She whispered. I looked at her for a long bit. No, but I don't trust the world without you in either. We walked back into the main floor. That's when they ran up. Sir, security breach, back corridor. Someone triggered the sensor and left a note. He handed it to me, scrawled in red marker. Truth always cost blood. Yours, hers, or both. Choose fast. My gasped behind me. I turned to her slowly. Tell me everything you know, no more games. Because this time, it wasn't just a story anymore, it was war. Chapter 7 Maya. I never thought confessing would feel like a ripping off a bandage. But here I was standing in the club dim office, Jungkook's eyes locked on me like a storm waiting to break. Okay, I said, running a hand through my hair. You want to know everything? Fine. He nodded, silent, waiting. I'm a journalist. I started, voice steady but shaky inside. And yes, I wanted to undercover here to expose the club. Rumor of illegal activities, drug deals, maybe worse. He didn't flinch. But I didn't expect I paused, searching for the right words to fall for you or for you to be nothing like what I imagined. Jungkook's expression softened just a bit, like he was keeping his guard while letting a crack appear. I was chasing a story, I continued, but then I found out the truth complicated. People aren't just good or bad, there are layers. He crossed his arms. And the stalker? The text? What do you know about that? I don't know much yet, I admitted, but someone's watching me, or us, someone who wants to keep secrets buried. I pulled out my phone, showed him the text. His jaw clenched. Do you have any idea who it could be? Not yet, I said, but I have a source, someone inside the club Who's given me bits and pieces? Jungkook narrowed his eyes. Jungkook's eyes narrowed. Who? I hesitated, not ready to say it's complicated. He sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. Maya, this isn't just a game anymore. If you want me to trust you, I needed everything. I bit my lip. Okay, you have my word. When I'm sure you will be the first to know. Jungkook. Her honesty was a start, but trust was a mountain to climb. Still, something in a way she looked at me like she was scared but still standing made me want to believe. We protect each other now, I said quietly. No more secrets. She gave me a sarcastic grin. Since when did you become the club's emotional coach? I smirked. Since I realized you are the only one who might save me from myself. Later, I met Tara at our favorite coffee shop. So, she asked, eyes sparkling. Did you confess to Jungkook? I laughed, shaking my head, more like spilling everything and then some. Tara smacked. Sounds like a love story or a disaster waiting to happen. She winked. Either way, you are living. Back at the club, Jungkook and I walked the floor together. For the first time, it felt like we weren't enemies, maybe not friends yet, but allies, because sometimes the only way through the darkness is together. Chapter 8 Jungkook. The club never truly sleeps, but tonight it felt heavier like the shadows were waiting, watching. I stood near the entrance, eyes scanning faces like a hawk hunting prey. Maya beside me, surprisingly calm, but I could see the tension under the skin. Ready? I asked Woslo. She nodded. Let's find who's been pulling the strings. We started with the back corridors, the same places where Maya had recorded suspicious conversations. The walls here smelled of stale smoke and secrets. I tapped my comms. They patched me into the security cams. On it came to the reply. We watched wind footage, blurred figures slipping through the doors, a hand dropping something into the trash bin. Pause it, I said. Zoom in. My heart skipped. A gloved hand, but no face. I felt Maya gaze on me. We are close, I said. Maya. Maya. I took a deep breath, studying myself. This isn't just about the club anymore. It's about who controls it. I pulled out my notebook. My sources says the owner isn't the real power here. Jungkook scoffed. So who is? Someone who's always in the shadows, pulling his strings and willing to kill to stay hidden. Suddenly, my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. Stop digging, Maya, or your next dance will be your last. I showed Jungkook. His jaw tightened. We cannot wait anymore. Jungkook looked me in the eye. We need to set a trap. Draw out whoever's behind this. I hesitated. Me? I'm the bait. He shrugged. You are the reason they are watching. If we want answers, we need to be smart. I rolled my eyes, sarcasm creeping in. Great, just what I wanted. Being the club's favorite target. He smiled. At least you are famous. Later, as we prepared for the trap, Junko caught my head. Scared? Terrified. I admitted. He gave me a soft smile. Good. Means you are a human. And somehow that made me the darkness feels a little less lonely. Chapter 9 Maya. Sometimes courage isn't loud. It's not charging into the danger with fist swinging. Sometimes it's wearing a red dress, walking into a club, you know, is crawling with lies and smiling like nothing's wrong. I adjusted the mic hidden in my bra strap. You sure this thing is working? Loud and clear came Jinko's voice through my earpiece. Good. If I get murdered mid dance, I had at least like a solid soundtrack at my funeral. I heard him exhale a soft laugh. You will be fine, Maya. I appreciate the blind optimism. Not blind, just faith. The club was electric, lights pulsing, bass heavy. I moved through the crowd slowly, aware of every eye, every shoulder brush, every shift in energy. My job tonight be visible. Let the shadows come to me. And they did. A man in a dark hoodie approached, face half hidden. He didn't say a word, just slipped a folder note in my palm and disappeared back into the crowd like smoke. I unfolded it. You were warned. You didn't listen. Now watch who pays the price. My heart dropped. Jungkook. I saw her face, heard the rustle through her mic, then silence. I snapped. Track the hoodie guy. No, northwest corner. I'm on it. He's moving fast. Don't let him get out. I pushed through the staff hallway, almost running. By the time I reached her, she was already pacing behind the bar, note in hand. They know we are watching, she said. They are upping the game. Then so are we. We decided to leave, regroup at my place, somewhere safer. We exited through the staff lot. That's when it happened. A dark car screeched around the corner. Highlights off. Run! I yelled. Maya bolted ahead. He's clicking on pavement. I yanked her behind a crate just as the car skipped past. A window rolled down. Pop, pop, tush. Gunshots. We hit the ground, breathless. They are trying to kill you now. I said, pulling her closer, shielding her with my body. She didn't flinch. If I ever get out of this alive, she muttered, I am writing the hell out of this article. Even in a near death moment, she could make me smile. Later in my apartment, I handed her a sweatshirt and a glass of water. I think I have a bullet shaped hole in my dignity, she muttered, sinking into the couch. You have no idea how close that was, I said quietly. She looked up at me, serious now. I trust you, she whispered, more than anyone. Then hit me harder than a gunshot. I walked closer, sat behind her. I won't let anything happen to you, Maya, ever. She gave a weak laugh. Careful, Jungkook. That almost sounded like a confession. And for once, I didn't dodge. Maybe it was. Chapter 10 Maya. The apartment was quiet, almost too quiet, like the world outside had hit pause. I sat on the edge of Jungkook's couch, wearing his oversized hoodie that smelled like a cedar and expensive cologne. Somehow, this ridiculous week had gone from fake dancing and secret notes to gunshot and near death bonding. And still, I couldn't stop thinking about him. The way he shielded me, the way his voice had cracked when he said, I won't let anything happens to you. I pulled my legs curling into myself. What are we doing? I asked loud, not realizing he had entered the room. Jungkook leaned against the doorway, trying not to get killed. Casual, the first date stuff. I gave a tired laugh. Then I looked up at him. Really looked. No, I mean this. You, me. He didn't move. And then, tell me to stop, he said quietly, walking towards me. My heart jumped. Stop what? I whispered, but I already knew. He stopped right in front of me, towering but somehow gentle. This, he said, and his hand lifted to brush a strand of my hair from my cheek. I didn't say anything. I didn't want to. Jungkook. She didn't pull away, so I leaned in slow like I was crossing a tightrope. And when our lips met, it wasn't a fire, not right away. It was slow, warm, like a moment before the sun breaks through clouds. Her hand curled into my shirt. I deepened the kiss just slightly. But then, next beat of silence broke everything. Buzz, buzz. Her phone lit up on the coffee table and a text, one line. You let him touch you. Now someone else pays. Maya pulled back, her breath catching. I grabbed the phone. Another text came in instantly. Check your inbox and remember you were warned. We opened it on my laptop. One attachment, a video. The screen flickered and we both gasped. Tara, tied to a chair, a masked figure pacing behind her. My blood went cold. No, Maya whispered, her hand trembled as she touched the screen. The figure leaned towards the camera and held up a sign. You bought the fire, now feel the burn. End of video. Maya. The air vanished from my lungs. They have her Jungkook. They have Tara. I stood dizzy, my brain racing, heart humming. I felt him steady me, hands on my arms. We will get her back, he said, fierce control. But his eyes were pure rage and something else. Regret? This is my fault, I said. No, he said sharply. This is ours to fix. We stood there side by side watching the city lights from the window, and I realized something. This was, this was no longer about an article. It wasn't about ambition or secrets. It was about the people who loved. and the length we had to go to protect them, even if we meant burning everything down. Chapter 11, Maya. The rain had started, not gentle, not cinematic. It came down furious, just like my heart. Jungkook's plan was simple: trace the masked figure, signal from the email, find the location, infiltrate, extract Tara, and this. But simple never means safe. I was in the van with Taehyung, hands clenched tight on my lap. Jungkook was already inside the building, an abandoned theater on the edge of the city. Fitting, right? A place built for stories and masks, hosting the worst chapter of my life. Jungkook. I moved through the dark hall like a ghost. One guard down, another slipper passed with a teaser jab to the neck. The tracker led me backstage where the signal was strongest. I heard her voice first. Tara, I told you, you are going to regret this. She is not just some girl. You are right, came the voice. She is the kind of a girl who ruins love. Then, and so are you. I kicked the door open, guns drawn, flashlight up. There he was, the stalker. Face half covered, but it was enough. I knew him. And worse, so did Maya. Maya. I burst in second later, and my world turned upside down. Ethan? I gasped. My ex? The quiet guy who'd ghosted me 2 years ago after 3 dates and a half finished pasta? His eyes twitched when he saw me. She never noticed me. He snarled. Not until she needed something. You tried to kill me, he said slowly. No, I tried to make you see me. And when you didn't, his voice cracked. I decided to make you remember me. Jungkook stepped between us, gun steady. You are done, he said, but Ethan launched for Tara. I didn't think. I moved, grabbed the metal rod from the table and swung hard. The sound was sickening, but he went down, unmoving. Just like that, it was over. Tara was shaken, bruised, but alive. Police took Ethan away, unconscious, but breathing. Outside, the rain had slowed to a drizzle. I stood the back alley, soaked, heart still humming. Jungkook walked over and took my hand. No words, just warmth, safety. And that look in his eyes like I was the only person on earth. Maya. That night, something shifted. Not because the danger had passed, but because I finally let my guard down. And he was the only one I wanted to see me like that. When he touched my hand, I didn't flinch. When he looked into my eyes, I didn't look away. And when he leaned in, I let myself feel it. The kiss wasn't rushed, it started slow, just lips whisper of contact. Like he was asking me, are you ready? And I was answering, yes. He rising every breath I took. His hand moved carefully, reverently, as if he was touching something. His fingertip brushed my shoulder, leaving a trail of goosebumps. And when his forehead rested against mine, he whispered, if this is a dream, I don't want to wake up. I smiled through the thundering in my chest. It's not. I'm right here. Jungkook. She wasn't just beautiful, she was everything. Her strength, her fire, her stubborn heart. Every time our skin touched, it felt like the world stopped spinning. I had kissed her again, this time with everything I had been holding back. Her laughter melted into a sigh when I lifted her gently, carried her to the bed, like she was the most precious thing I had ever held. And she was. We didn't rush, we had soft and slow. You are shaking because I have never wanted something this real, I said. The next moment were heat and whispers, soft sheet, breathless kisses that deepened into something unspoken. Touches that said everything words couldn't. Gasp shared between shadows and moonlight. It wasn't just passion. It was trust. It was healing. It was the moment every wall came down. Maya. We lay tangled in each other, heart still racing. My fingers traced slow circles on his chest, and I could feel his breathing start to calm. His arm tightened around my waist. You okay? He said softly. I think I'm finally home, I whispered. He smiled, a real soft smile that broke something open in me. We didn't say anything more, we didn't need to. because the silence between us now, it wasn't empty. It was full, full of everything we never thought we had find. The night we stopped running, we found something worth staying for. The article never published because I chose something else. Peace, love, life. But if I had to write one final headline, journalist falls for a club owner, turns out he was her favorite scoop of all. Epilogue. 4 years later. Maya, if someone had told me years ago that I had been living in a sun washed villa near the sea, sipping lukewarm coffee with a toddler on my hip and a baby monitor buzzing beside me, I would have laughed them straight out of the newsroom. But here I was in a yoga pants with a banana simmer on my shirt, here in a messy bun, and more love in my heart than I ever thought possible. Appa, Appa, came the squeaky shout from the garden. I looked out the window and smiled. There he was, Jungkook. Tattoos, muscle, white hair, now tame age, and fatherhood chasing after our 3 years old with the bubble worn and zero dignity. Jay, slow down, he called, laughing. Never, our son yelled, tripping over his own feet and collapsing into his father's arms with a giggle. Behind me, a soft coo came from the baby monitor. I picked it up and padded down the hallway. Our daughter Hannah blinked up at me from her crib with those wide moonlit eyes she inherited from her dad. I lifted her gently, kissed her forehead, and whispered, "You are going to grow up knowing exactly what love looks like." Because I did. Dinner was chaos. Jay threw mashed potatoes at the wall, Hannah rolled all over her bib, and Maya gave me that look across the table. Just one that said, "This is your circus too, Jungkook." I just grinned because I wouldn't trade this for anything. After bedtime, when the house finally quieted, I found her on the balcony, wrapped in a blanket, hair still in a bun, watching the waves. I slipped behind her, wrapped my arms around her waist, and rested my chin on her shoulder. "Remember when you told me you were undercover?" I murmured against her ear. She laughed softly. "I was supposed to expose you, and instead you exposed my heart. Rude." She turned in my arms, leaned up, and kissed me, a soft, lingering kiss that felt like every kiss we had ever shared, just deeper now, truer. "You are still biggest story I ever chased," she whispered, "and you are the only one I ever wanted to keep reading," I said. Forever isn't a word we use lightly, but when it is starred in danger and survivors in love, forever becomes inevitable.